and welcome. You are watching World Business Report here on News 9 Live. I am Krishna Kumar, and we begin with a check of the US markets, or Wall Street. Before Wall Street opens for trading on Monday, we have to understand what a week it was for Wall Street. Many factors boosting the stock markets in the US. The US Fed holding on to the interest rates, and it seemed like the US Fed is done with hiking interest rates, so that's one good news. Many big American corporations coming out of their quarterly earnings and beating all expectations, so that's number two. And also there was US economic data which was a bit weak, but it did show that jobs are still growing in the US, and Wall Street has taken all of that to be a bit of a YOLO moment, or you live only once, or as some would say, a Goldilocks moment on Wall Street, and it's all lined up to trigger a massive rally in the US stock markets. More in this Reuters report.
Wall Street's main indexes rallied on Friday after the U.S. jobs report showed signs of a cooling labor market, boosting hopes the Federal Reserve is done with hiking interest rates. The Dow gained nearly 0.7%, the S&P 500 increased more than 0.9%, and the Nasdaq climbed almost 1.4%. Data from the Labor Department showed the economy added a less than expected 150,000 jobs in October, partly due to strikes at Detroit's Big Three automakers. The unemployment rate also edged up to 3.9%, and the number of jobs added in September was revised lower, all reflecting a slowdown in job growth.
Where we're moving into is a more normalized job growth distribution and probably a more normalized unemployment rate.
Dryden Pence is Chief Investment Officer at Pence Capital Management.
So when we're looking at 3.8, 3.9, slight tick up, it gives the Fed more ammunition to do what they have in effect done. And that's kind of put on the pause, switch from this moment where we're worrying about not how high, but to how long. And they're going to let kind of duration do their job for them.
The payrolls data helped push U.S. Treasury yields lower for the fourth consecutive session. During the session, the benchmark 10-year Treasury yield hit its lowest level in over 5 weeks. The jobs report also lifted big interest rate-sensitive tech stocks, including Microsoft and Google parent Alphabet, but not shares of Apple, which lost 0.5% a day after giving a dull outlook for holiday sales. Shares of Block, parent company of payments platform Square, jumped more than 10.5% after raising its annual adjusted profit forecast. But cybersecurity company Fortinet dropped nearly 12.5% after a downbeat fourth-quarter revenue forecast.
Right, in a groundbreaking announcement, tech visionary Elon Musk unveiled xAI's latest creation, a cutting-edge chatbot named Grok, as in Grok. And this development is a significant leap forward in the world of artificial intelligence and promises to revolutionize the way we interact with AI-powered conversational agents, just like we're doing with a ChatGPT as well. But in the meanwhile, it was a high-stakes meeting between Musk and UK's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. They met at an Artificial Intelligence Safety Summit, and they discussed China, the classic intersection of technology and international relations. And this meeting between these influential figures and the topic of the discussion could prove to be a pivotal dialogue with potentially far-reaching implications.
I took a decision to invite China to summit over the last couple of days. And it was not an easy decision. A lot of people criticized me for it. My view was, if you're going to try
it's essential. When I was in China earlier this year, my main subject of discussion with the leadership in China was AI safety, and saying that this is really something that they should care about, and they took it seriously, and you are too, which is great. And having them here, I think, was essential. Really, if they're not participants, it's pointless. I'm saying this is something we should be quite concerned about, because if the robot can follow you anywhere, then what if they just one day get a software update and they're not so friendly anymore? Then we've got a James Cameron movie on our hands.
It's funny you saying that, because in our session that we had today, I would say they made exactly the same point, right, Emma? So they're talking about movies, actually without mentioning James Cameron, they're talking about James Cameron movies.
Right, Apple did suffer a stumble after it announced that the coming quarters are going to be quite damp as far as earnings are concerned, and investors are certainly worried about Apple's future and its own broader implications of the tech sector. The iPhone, which is Apple's main revenue generator, saw its sales rise in the September quarter. However, take a look at this report for more details.
After a disappointing holiday forecast sent shares of Apple tumbling, the stock recovered losses on Friday. The bounce back comes as a weaker than expected U.S. jobs report bolstered hopes of a pause in interest rate hikes by the Federal Reserve and a possible reprieve for rate-sensitive stocks. But Apple shares were still in negative territory Friday, while other mega-cap stocks gained after the October payrolls report. The world's most valuable company late Thursday forecast sales for its key holiday quarter below Wall Street estimates, blaming weak demand for iPads and wearables. The projection fanned fears about broader holiday demand, with estimates including those from the U.S. National Retail Federation and Deloitte predicting the slowest rise in sales in the crucial shopping period in years due to sticky inflation. At least 14 analysts cut their price targets on Apple, pushing down the median price target to $195, according to LSEG data. That's about 10% above where it currently trades. The iPhone, which is Apple's main revenue generator, saw its sales rise in the September quarter. The company expects them to rise in the current quarter as well. CEO Tim Cook also insisted the iPhone 15 models were doing well in China, as he sought to allay Wall Street fears that Apple was losing market share to a resurgent Huawei and other local smartphone sellers.
Right, there is a certain significant shift towards eco-friendly transportation these days, and two car companies are riding the wave the best. BMW and Volvo both have strategically made sure that they will tap the potential of the green revolution the maximum. And how do we know this? Their recent quarterly financial earnings reports. This Reuters report has those details.
Both BMW and Volvo reported on Friday that electric vehicle sales have boosted their earnings. For BMW, its third quarter results beat analysts' expectations. It confirmed its forecasts for the year, striking a more optimistic tone than some competitors. And that was down to both premium and electric vehicles, which boosted the automaker's revenue to $40.9 billion. But the company said group net profit fell almost 8% compared to last year's figures, which benefited from a one-off boost after it took a majority stake in its Chinese joint venture, BBA. They added that revenues took a hit from negative currency exchange effects, as well as some manufacturing costs. The group said higher-priced models, such as the 7 Series, are driving sales growth, and fully electric sales outstripped BMW's end-year target of 15%. Volvo also reported an EV sales jump of 29% in its October results. Overall sales grew 10% in the month from a year earlier, with EVs counting for 18% of all Volvo cars sold.
Now, Seattle is a city that has become synonymous with the tech giant Amazon for decades. Amazon's founder and former CEO Bezos, however, is now reportedly leaving, and he wants to shift to the city of Miami, a shift that could have far-reaching implications, not only for Amazon, but for the tech and business landscape as a whole in the US. Have a look at this report for all the details.
I brought a special friend with me today to help. Give you a little sneak peek. Here it is, the new orbital vehicle.
Now, the stage is set for a critical global discussion. A global discussion as the US of America contemplates a potential revival of trade ties with Africa. However, even as the US contemplates that, the question here is, can this trade partnership be swiftly realized? If not, what are the challenges facing it? At the same time, what are the opportunities as well? This Reuters report has more.
At a garment factory in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, the future of a US-Africa trade deal is on Nora Nasimiyu's mind. She's worked here stitching Levi's jeans, largely for US customers, for 13 years. It's how she's put 6 children through school and university. But she fears an uncertain future if the African Growth and Opportunity Act, or AGOA, is not renewed.
So we are praying that they extend. If they extend, it is going to be a very big advantage towards Kenyans at large.
AGOA provides qualifying African countries with duty-free access to the world's biggest consumer market. Nasimiyu's employer, Pankaj Bedi, chairman of United Aryan EPZ, said 99% of their garments go to the US.
Once AGOA is gone, all the buyers are gone, all the productions are gone. So similarly, if AGOA is not there, it would be not sustainable for us to survive here. So AGOA is supreme. So all 4 pillars of the business are based on AGOA only.
The program is due to expire in September 2025. But concern over its future is why African countries have been pushing for an early 10-year extension without changes. That's needed, they say, to reassure businesses and investors. Here's South African President Cyril Ramaphosa speaking at the summit on Friday.
United States and us, we're here for the long haul. So let us make AGOA a long haul opportunity for all of us.
AGOA, which saw over $10 billion of African exports enter the US market duty-free last year, does enjoy long-standing bipartisan support from US lawmakers. They see it as critical in countering Chinese influence on the continent. However, there are divisions over the need for updates. A recent push in the Senate is aiming to pass a quick renewal deal. President Joe Biden has said he fully supports reauthorization. But his Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Friday that Biden also wants to make it even better. African governments and US industry associations, however, worry that attempts to radically alter AGOA risk bogging it down in a Congress that is already struggling to pass even the most critical legislation.
The world's biggest shipping company is all set to cut down on over 10,000 jobs, and that's in response to a fall in demand for shipping. Maersk is set to slash those 10,000 jobs. What does it mean for Maersk and for the shipping industry as a whole? This Reuters report tells you all about it.
Maersk announced on Friday it would cut at least 10,000 jobs due to overcapacity, rising costs and weaker prices. It comes as the Danish shipping group reported a steep drop in third quarter profit and revenue. Maersk, which controls about 1/6 of the global container trade, flagged a steeper downturn in demand than expected and said it was in the process of cutting its workforce from 110,000 to below 100,000. Which will save the company $600 million next year. Shares in the group, whose raft of clients include major companies like Nike and Walmart, slid over 11% Friday morning to their lowest level in 3 years. Analysts said this was mainly because Maersk said it would reconsider whether to continue its share buyback program into 2024. The firm said it expects global container volumes in its ocean business, its largest, to fall by up to 2% this year. That's primarily as a result of weak consumer demand and also destocking by firms following an initial scramble for goods in the aftermath of the global health crisis. The company kept its full-year guidance for revenue and operating profit, but now expects both to land at the lower end of the range.
From shipping to aerospace, where Boeing is in the midst of a potentially alarming situation, the company has fallen victim to a cyber attack and is now grappling with a ransom demand. What's this story all about? Have a look at this report.
Boeing is investigating a cyber incident and faces a ransom demand. The aerospace and defence giant said Wednesday it was working with law enforcement following an apparent attack on its parts and distribution business. Days earlier, a cybercrime gang calling itself Lockbit said it had stolen a tremendous amount of sensitive data from the firm. It said it would dump the data online if Boeing didn't pay a ransom by Thursday. The demand later disappeared from the gang's website, and the plane maker wouldn't say if Lockbit was behind the cyber incident. Boeing said flight safety was not affected in any way. It did not disclose whether any defense-related data had been compromised. US watchdogs say Lockbit was the most active global ransomware group last year. It has reportedly hit 1,700 US organizations since 2020. The gang typically uses software to lock up a target firm's systems or steals sensitive data to use for extortion. Cyber experts say even paying the ransom demand would not guarantee that Lockbit actually returned or deleted the stolen data.
Reality TV star and cosmetics mogul Kylie Jenner is now being celebrated for her groundbreaking contributions as she has been honored as an innovator by the prestigious WSJ magazine. Have a look. And sticking with the world of entertainment, actor Brian Cox is now set to host a thrilling new James Bond-themed game show. What's this show all about? For all of us fans of Brian Cox from so many movies and especially the series Succession, this Reuters report tells you more.
The money is the prize. But this adventure has been the greatest thing we've...
Impossible.
If they find them, answer them.
Why don't you go down there?
Are you sick?
Into a James Bond adventure and placed 10 questions around the world. If they win £1 million. The only thing standing in their way is me.
And the idea is really to put ordinary people into a James Bond adventure. And we didn't quite know how that would work out. And it's thrilling because it's funny and they're really not James Bond, but they have heart and they're lovely and they're kind of, you know, they're heroic in their own way. And so it kind of shines through. And so the show has a lot of heart and hopefully kind of deserves to be in the James Bond world.
Everyone this way to the middle.
I've said it a lot today, and it is a bit of a cliche, but it's just once in a lifetime. Yeah. You know, we couldn't have imagined doing anything like this, and we've been given the opportunity, and it's something that we'll be grateful for.
Recommend it to anyone. It's life-changing and out of this world. Yeah. Go for it if you can.
When it came through, it said 007. I went, oh, maybe they're going to ask me to do a billet. And then I thought, no, they can't do that because they haven't got a James Bond yet. And not only that, they haven't got a script yet for the next one. So it was a flight of fancy for a while. And then I realized it was this thing. And I thought, well, maybe if I do this, it's probably the nearest I'll ever get to it.
From the world of acting and entertainment to the world of music and entertainment, where Missy Elliot has now been inducted into the prestigious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Have a look.
We all know that the incomparable Missy Misdemeanor Elliot is about to become the first female rapper to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
You just feel like it's so far to reach when you're in the hip-hop world. And to be standing here, it means so much to me. I thank you.
Y'all can stop me now. Listen to me now. I'm less than 20 rounds. And if you want me, come on, get me now.
And that's all we have time for in this edition of World Business Report. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off. Keep it with News 9.
News 9 big coverage of 5 assembly polls. Mandate 2023.